Yo, 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 what up, what up? YouTube Live. This is yours truly, Rama Screen, covering movies, TV, and entertainment. It's Sunday night, June 23rd, 2019, and I just finished watching the latest episode of HBO's new series, Euphoria. To be exact, is Euphoria Season 1, Episode 2, titled Stuntin'. Stuntin' like my daddy. Oh my god, even the title of this episode is so far out. Um, I was, to be honest with you, I was not looking forward to watching tonight's episode because after what happened in the pilot episode, I remember I told you in the review last week's or last Sunday, I was like, "Where's the story? Where's the story? There's nothing to grab onto here, story wise. It's just a bunch of unhappy kids, fucking snorting." Zendaya being depressed and teen angst, angry with parents. I was like, where's the story? So I was like, I was like dragging my feet to like watching tonight's episode. I was like, I don't know if I want to, but I watched it, and so here are my thoughts. Tonight's episode actually was a lot better than the pilot episode. Um, there was some story here, and clearly, this show is not just a Zendaya show. Um, from tonight's episode, it's like I think there were about three storylines, and Nate Jacobs is one of them. Of course, Zendaya is the other one, and the third story involves the heavy set girl. What is her name? I'm looking at the list here. I'm trying to make sure that because I'm still trying to remember their names. It's a pretty new show. I believe the name is Kat Hernandez, played by Barbie Ferreira. Well, anyway, let's go through each of them. First off, by the way, before we go through each, I just want to say that it's an improvement. Tonight's episode is an improvement from last week's. That barely no story or paper thin story. Tonight is like, okay, it's not much, but it's something. It's like something that we can at least um, get out of as far as audiences go from watching this episode. And so the first storyline involves Nate Jacobs. Um, this is the quarterback in the high school, and tonight's episode gave a little bit about his background, uh, his upbringing when he was a kid, and turns out, lo and behold, his dad is none other than Eric Dane's character, Cal Jacobs, whom, if you remember in the pilot episode, the former Dr. McSteamy from Grey's Anatomy was is a bit of he's a bit of a freak. Um, like not only like he had affairs, of course, obviously, but he also has this sex habit where in this episode tonight it's revealed that he also likes to videotape his sexual encounters, many of whom with boys or trans people, and he gets off on doing that. Man, again, watching Eric Dane playing this character is just it just still blows my mind, man. Holy crap. I can't get over that. Um, a part of me kind of admires that Eric Dane really takes this on. Like, this is something that you don't expect Eric Dane to do. So that's something to be admired. Um, but the other part of me is like, oh, my eyes, my eyes. why why did I see that? And in tonight's episode, man, Eric Dane's character says some of the most disturbing lines too. Like he has this one guy blowing him, and he's like, "Oh, oh, oh, don't come yet." Don't come yet. I was like, "No, that's Dr. McSteamy." No. So Nate Jacobs, when he was a kid, he saw his dad's video collection, and he grew up to become this quarterback, of course. And even though he has this masculinity, macho-ness that he has to display, right? Because he's a quarterback, and of course he's dating the cheerleader as well, named Maddie. Um, there's one moment in the locker room where it's suggested that penises also kind of turns him on, or at least it arouses him, his curiosity at least, and he tries to like always look at eye level. But sometimes he would catch, he would his eye his eyes will like go down. It's like, oh, catch the glimpse of of his teammates' penises. And man, this episode tonight, showed graphically showed more penises than I would care to have seen. Like than I'd care to have seen in a million years. It's like so many. Now, I know a few years back, if you recall, there was this outrage, internet outrage. It's not real outrage, but you know how it is with people on Twitter. It's like, hey, HBO, how come you always, show the boobs and the pussies on your shows like Sopranos and Game of Thrones and all these, Deadwood, like, but where's the penis? Where's the dick? The same with Stars and Cinemax and all the other networks that paid programming networks where they would show nudity. Uh, I don't know if you recall this. This was like a few years ago. It's like people are like, "Hey, what if you could?" It's like an equality thing. They want us like, "Hey," people are like, "Hey, let's have equality also. If you can show boobs and bush, you can totally show penises. Like, come on, you can't be sexist. You got to show men's." Well, be careful what you wish for, or your wish has been granted by tonight's episode of Euphoria. Because man, it's like penis, 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 penis. And they're not fake penises like in last week's episode with Eric Dane's character, when he was putting on his condom on himself. You could tell that was totally fake, and of course the camera kind of blurs it out. Um, but this is like, man, kudos to the male actors in that locker room. Pretty brave for pulling that off. Because I don't know if I can. I have this very, I guess, introverted shyness, insecurity about me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I would want to show my penis for the world to see, even if HBO pays me a ton of money. Um, but you know, I'm straight, so I'm more leaning towards like, hey, show me more boobs. But if you like penis, then no judgment here. No judgment here. If that's your thing, then you will definitely love tonight's episode because Nate Jacobs, um, you can tell that there's a part of him that, um, even though he bangs women and Maddie, that he kind of gets a little bit curious about penises. At least the episode suggests that way. Uh, so in his storyline, the way the writers, Sam, I forget his name, Sam Levinson, the creator of the show. Sam Levinson says, "Hey, Nate Jacobs has this fantasy of being a savior to his woman, like he would fantasize about Maddie being kidnapped, put in the trunk, and then he would rescue her, being the hero that saves the day, right? And then he would shoot the kidnapper in the head. That's his fantasy. So later on in the episode, he confronts the boy that Maddie grinded like last week's episode in that swimming pool. Now, you might argue, well, that looked like a revenge sex. You know how you revenge sex to trying to get back at the your the person that you broke up with. Uh, but it wasn't really clear if they really had sex inside that water or in that swimming pool. And that kid also that in tonight's episode, the one that Nate Jacobs confronts, he said like, "Hey, because Nate Jacobs can like, hey, you raped my girl." It's like, no, I didn't rape your girl. It's like that girl's, and I think to the kid's defense, I forget his name, but he doesn't even know that he doesn't know much about Maddie or her history or Maddie's relationship with Nate. So the fact that Nate beats him up with a bat, that is a pretty messed up thing to do, man. And you can tell that Nate gets off on that. Like that's his fantasy. He's like, oh yes, finally I get to beat up somebody, in defense of or in rescue of my girl. Um, so he was kind of feeling proud about that, very happy about that. Um, Man, Nate Jacobs is one hell of a character, though. He's like he's not your typical jock. He's a jock that I think the way I assess him is that like in like any minute he could explode. Not that he would become a mass shooter like that. By the way, the mass shooter was mentioned by that one kid. Um, but he would just like if the right trigger happens, he would just like lose it. He would lose his shit because he looks so unhappy to me, man. He looks so bitter, and he looks like he holds things in, which is not healthy, man. This is a really this show can really mess you up if you're not ready for some of the shit that you'll see in the show. Just a heads up, it can mess you up really bad. So you gotta come in to watch Euphoria with some sort of stability mentally wise. Okay. Um, so that's Nate Jacobs' storyline for you. The other storyline is the other storyline before we get to Zendaya, um, with the heavy set girl named Kat, and Bernie Dwayne is here. Bernie says his character is so over the top, in my opinion, who breaks into someone's house. Exactly right. There's something really broken about Nick Jacobs. Um, I mean, he would even like you said, he would break into somebody's apartment and then beat him up. And his excuse is like, "Oh, you mess with my girl." I was like, "Dude, the guy or the kid doesn't know anything. It was Maddie that kind of comes on to him. He doesn't know shit about Maddie. He doesn't know shit about you, Nick. Poor guy, really poor guy. He's like, by the end of the episode, he's like lying on the carpet in his own blood. Oh man. The one with the heavy set girl, Kat Hernandez, I believe that's the character's name. Last week's episode, she had sex with this one kid, and apparently it was filmed. I did not remember that it was filmed or somebody videotaped it. And in tonight's episode, somebody leaks that episode on. I mean, leaks that video online for the whole world to see. And in this episode, she confronts the boy that she had sex with. Hey, you got to make this right, and here are my demands. And to his credit, he doesn't like. He's like, no, I'm not gonna pull the video down. No, yeah, she's like, yeah, I'll do it. And she even demands that he buys her shit, shopping wise. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Um, and at one point, but that's not the part that's interesting to me. The part that's interesting to me is when the principal calls her to the office and it's like, oh, I hear this about video that's going around online. Somebody looking like you, at least, having sexual intercourse. And the way she shoots that principal down is brilliant. Because she uses the fat card. She uses like if I were to be confronted by somebody, hey, did you do this? And even if I did it, I don't want him to or anybody to know. I would be like, oh, are you being racist? I'm a minority. I'm a people of color. It's bad that I use that card, but some people use that card sometimes for kind of like getting themselves getting out of jail free card kind of thing. Like, oh, if I use it, then that the other guy, or in this case the principal, would get so embarrassed and so ashamed, and then he would drop the whole thing. And so that's what she uses. She uses her like, oh, just because the girl in the video is fat, you just assume it's me. And so the principal's like, oh, oh, no, 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 that's not what I meant. That's what I mean. And you can tell the principal also reiterates a couple of times. That's like, oh, I haven't seen the video. I just heard about it. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. So kudos to Kat, man. I she's becoming one of my favorite characters on this show. Definitely. Um, Before we get to Zendaya, I just want to say that uh, I think when it comes to Cat, it's like a cautionary tale. If it doesn't matter if you're in high school or if you're in college or if you're already in the workforce. If you're having sex with somebody and it's supposed to be like either one night thing or supposed to be a fling, something that's not steady, not a relationship kind of thing. You better make sure, man. You better make sure you check your surrounding. Better make sure that there's no cameras around or there's no audio, whatever, recording around. Make sure if the laptop's face is open, you close them like this, bloop, because you never know what it might catch. So uh, I feel bad also for those people that Eric Dane's character secretly tapes while he's having sex with them, because man, I know that the reason why he keeps those tapes is because he wants to rewatch them again and probably, I don't know, jacks off to them. Um, but who knows? He might use it for blackmail. You just gotta be careful, man. You gotta be careful. Unless it's your spouse, your partner, relationship, then if you want to have, if you want to make a sex tape with your girlfriend, boyfriend, that's your prerogative. Just make sure you don't put it in the cloud. But if it's a fling thing, if it's with a stranger, if it's after one date and then you hit it off and you want to have sex, just make sure you check your surrounding, man. That's probably my pro tip for you, because you don't want that shit to come back and bite you in the ass. Definitely. Reputation is very thin. It's a thin thread, and once you lose that, boom, it's gonna be hard to regain that back. So last storyline involves Zendaya. Now, it's after 2 episodes. I gotta say, it's very fascinating watching Zendaya in this character or in this role or on this show, knowing the fact that she's MJ in those in those Spider-Man movies. I'm gonna be watching Spider-Man Far From Home this Wednesday night at the press screening. Looking forward to it. Been hearing great stuff about it from the early buzz about the movie last week. So it's gonna be like, oh, when I watch it, I might, when Zendaya pops up on the screen, now having watched 2 episodes of Euphoria, I don't know if that's gonna mess my perception of the. I'm gonna be like, all right, am I looking at MJ or Rue Bennett here? Oh my God, why is Peter Parker kissing Rue Bennett? But back to being serious. The episode tonight, it's very intense because Rue um, has this moment where she visits this, her favorite drug dealer, who's, by the way, is very. This guy, I forgot his name. I gotta look him up again. The guy with the beard, and he's kind of nice. He actually has Rue's best interest at heart. Like he really genuinely wants Rue to get out of his apartment, because the real bad guy is about to arrive. The shady guys that he deals drug business with, and so he genuinely cares for Rue's well being. I was like, this is no place for a girl like you right now at this moment, because this bad cat This bad cat is about to come, and there's no way in knowing what he will do, you know, with a presence of a girl like you. And so, man, I was holding my breath watching that thing, that whole scene of him bringing his knife close to her lips. I was like, oh. And then after she kind of got drugged, and I was like, oh my god, please don't let him, do anything, shitty to her while she's high. I was like, oh, I don't want to see this. Um, Luckily, the bad guy left, and so, oh man, that is some scary moment. All right, that should be enough to scare or to put the fear of God in anybody who wants to visit the home or the vicinity of any drug dealer, no matter how nice they might be, because the people that they're doing business with may not be as nice as them. So, man, that was such a close call, and on Ruth's part, in my opinion, I was like, "Woo, girl!" So when your friend says, well, I don't know if he's her friend, but when he says, "You got to get out. This is not a good time for you to be here," you better listen, girl. You better listen. Um, the other storyline about McKay and Cassie is very paper thin. I don't really have opinion about that, other than like I don't understand why McKay keeps talking about himself. You have this hottie sitting next to you on the couch watching a movie, and the hottie wants to have sex with you. You know, um, just feeling horny, and you're not like accommodating. I was like, what's up with that? What's up with that, boy? And then McKay keeps like talking about um about his day, athletics, about his frustration, about I don't know, man. I was like, really? Can't you just shut up and your girl needs you right now? Yeah. Just to Nick's credit, at least Nick, he's messed up, but at least Nick really wants to be present for Maddie. That boy got 1,001 problems, but Maddie ain't one of them. You know what I'm saying? So Nick got that to his credit. Whereas McKay, I was like, man, that kid, he just would not shut up. Of course, he made up for it during text, but it's like, come on, come on. It's not the same thing. So I don't really have opinion about that storyline. Very paper thin. And the whole thing with Rue and Jules becoming friends, again, another paper thin part of the episode. Maybe they're gonna flesh that out some more in the subsequent episodes or next week. We'll see. Of course, by the end of tonight's episode, we find out that the person that Jules been texting with turns out to be Nate. I thought she's been texting with Eric Dane's character, Cal Jacobs, but nope. I don't know if she knew though. I don't know if she knows that the person she's testing is not. I don't know if she knows. I don't know if she knows that that is Nate Jacobs. So that was a surprise to me. So overall, to conclude this review, I just want to say that again, it's an improvement from last week's episode. At least tonight, there there is some story, not much, but there is something. It is something. Those three things I just mentioned to you. Um, and even if you don't like what this show gives you in terms of its story, I think one thing we can appreciate is the visual artistry of Euphoria. It it grows on me. The first episode, the whole thing with Rue Bennett being high, and then she finds herself walking on the wall or upside down. That was okay, but I like some of the camera or the cinematography choices in this episode tonight. It was very interesting to watch some of them, and I'm a big fan of Psychedelic Trip. That's why I'm a big fan of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas movie with Johnny Depp. And in tonight's episode, when Jules and Rue were high, they were, high as a kite, and you see like they're like laughing and they're touching each other's face. It's like glitters with glowing shit on them. I like that part. I'm a big fan of Psychedelic Trip. So that's another big point for tonight's episode, in addition to, hey, there's a story. Oh, man. But again, when you want to watch Euphoria, just brace yourselves mentally, because I think even after 2 episodes, like I can't prepare. You can't prepare yourselves for some of the shit that you're about to see in this show. It's just like, man, it really pushes it. You know, you think that 6 Feet Under was depressing? Man, you ain't seen shit. You ain't seen nothing depressing until you see Euphoria. Euphoria is a bunch of unhappy, unhappy teenage brats, um, trying to make sense of their sexual curiosity, their drugs curiosity, and they need therapy, bro. They need serious therapy. Nate Jacobs, Rue, Kat, all the people on this show need serious therapies. They should contact that shrink from Big Little Lies. Maybe she can help them out. Ah, what an interesting, hell of a ride episode tonight. So that's it. That's my long rant, my review of Euphoria season 1, episode 2, titled "Stuntin' Like My Daddy." What a show! What a show! If you've seen it too, do you agree or disagree with my assessment? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And again, subscribe to my channel, press that like button, ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.